week I talked to Stephane Vigroux, who was a direct student of David Belle and one of the initial few that started spreading parkour. In this three-part interview, we don't go too far, only touching the tip of the iceberg, with subjects going from his learning process with the original traceurs to his adventurous life establishing parkour around the world, to his training with movement expert Ido Portal. It was an honor to speak again to someone that is truly passionate, not just about the movement, but the life that is parkour. This is Stephane Vigroux, and this is Word of Movement. Let's go a bit further, and I want to ask you, so you learned all these things from all these guys, right? And then did you start doing what they taught you, or from what you've learned you started to teach what you understood of it?
I've been taught from David a lot. You know, before I got exposed to my second biggest inspiration was William at some point. But before that, I was only and mostly influenced by David in my training. He was, you know, I was seeing him every day, and I would either train with him or he would either give me some things to train on. So that was my only source and influence. I've been exposed for years. So I obviously took on him a lot, you know. And then I met William, who kind of exposed me to different concepts of parkour and more on a mental aspect, and, you know, researching basically a more meaningful, you know, purpose of parkour. Why do you practice? How does it actually affect your life, or how it can affect your life, you know, in a positive manner? And then, yes, in that sense, what are the mind benefits of parkour? So that really came from William afterwards, because William was a very positive person, strong mentally and physically, and he was really inspiring in that sense. And I was the opposite, quite very angry. So I was strong in parkour. I was, you know, if you just look at the performance side, it was looking okay, but I wasn't a happy person, and then something was missing. So William really changed that, specifically during one training I did with him in the forest of Sarcelles. So that just to just come back on the influences I had in terms of teaching that I received. And then, so when I started to teach, I pretty much based my first classes and sessions on what I've been taught. So it was hard. It wasn't basically my communication wasn't as good as it might be today. So it was really much focused on a very elitist content that I was delivering to people, without really understanding if that's what they were coming for, and if that would you know, make sense really. So it was really a basic teaching at the beginning, before I understand more about, I guess, essentially understanding what the people wants to get out of a session. You know, we're all different, and then not everybody wants to suffer, risk their life, or, you know, bleed and cry and then go through all that pain. That were the personal things I've done and I've been exposed to in the beginnings, but that's not for everybody, obviously. So I slowly started to understand that. So it took me a lot of time to understand teaching, understand what people want, and then adjust my teachings accordingly. Very
nice. All right, so let's go to Thailand. Why Thailand?
Well, Thailand always have been a country I love, because I had family, cousins who live in Thailand. My mom is half Vietnamese, so I always had a strong Asian influence. So I have cousins who lived in Thailand for years, so for all their life actually. So when I was young, around 14 years old, I went there for the first time for holidays with my parents, and I just really fell in love with the country. It was really, really nice. I love the people, the culture, the food, the freedom you have, the nature. I felt at home straight away. This is home. I told my mom when I was a kid, I was like, "Mom, I'm going to live here. I'm sure, 100%. So,
yeah, man.
Yeah, so as soon as I could, I moved there. When I was young, around 22, 23, I can't remember. So I moved there for a couple of years, and I went to London. And then I went back, after London, I went back there, and then I opened Parkour Generations Asia.
tell me a little bit about when you trained with Ido Portal.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I gathered from the, because at the time I only saw the Facebook pictures, and I was like, okay, this is interesting because I was following his work also, and I saw that his work is a very good complement for parkour, or vice versa, because it's all movement, right? And the more movement vocabulary you have, the better you will be able to move. So was training with Ido going back to the roots, so to speak, or was it an introduction to a lot of new things?
It was a bit of both. It was back to the source in the sense of one, intensity. He's a guy who trained hard. He's not fake. He trains really hard. He's a hard worker. He's a tough motherfucker. That's for sure. So it reminded me a lot of my training back in the days in that sense. We have the same age as well. Same year. It's just like a week difference. So we have this similarity. So in terms of intensity and the origin, I think we've been through a lot of what you said, abusive training, where we've been abused in the way we were taught and trained before. And then also it was new in the sense that so that's one similarity. Sorry, the second similarity is the fact that we in parkour at the beginning and even today, I always see parkour as a movement practice, and the more variety, the better. Even though parkour does get defined visually by more jumps, jumping techniques, but it's overall a way to move and then feel comfortable in your body. So that was something similar we had. Now Ido is I pushed it that away further, a step further in terms of variety and really learning, because the thing with parkour was just us exploring what we had, but he has been researching, training and learning from many different activities, from dance, from ballet, from capoeira, from martial arts, from boxing. And he studied a lot from all those different disciplines in order to come up with his own method and then kind of take the best in all those different disciplines. So I guess he did way more research than I did, or than probably the guys before did back then when we created parkour. So he's a very well educated man when it comes to movement yeah.
Yeah, but we cannot forget that one of the reasons that parkour exists is not only to develop yourself, but also to be able to exist and help, right? Be strong to be useful, which I think in his practice, it's not so much of a thing. It's more of a personal development, obviously doing amazing things, which they are, but the thing about parkour is that that mindset of actually being altruistic and being strong to be useful, or être duré and all that stuff, makes a little bit of a difference, and that might explain why nobody, until you and Ido joined forces, nobody really explored more beyond functional movement,
Yeah.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Well, no. I mean, the thing is, we don't have to be mistaken. I think there could be a philosophy with parkour, and it can be there, but it's not necessarily there for everybody.
Yes.
It's not because you jump well that it means you will actually help people. True. Or you will actually understand how much parkour can benefit you on a personal level or on a life level. So yes, it can be, but it's not always the case. So to be strong, to be useful, it's a very appealing line, but I don't care about the line. I care about how you apply that and how you actually do this in real. So I would rather have someone who actually acts and help others and don't even say he helps anyone, rather than having on your t-shirt to be strong, to be useful, and you don't get shit about what parkour is and how it can help other people.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the first point. Now Ido, I think, I kind of see where maybe a bit of that, lifestyle, philosophical part is probably missing with his practice. Although I'm not sure, I don't know well, I don't know him well enough to understand, how he lives every day, how the students of him, live every day. But it's true that it's not in his core values. Definitely, I think it's a more practical discipline, based on movement and very physical approach. So he goes deep into the movement and physical side of things, a very detailed, very deep understanding of the mechanics, what makes sense, what doesn't, and that's pretty thorough. But there's no aspect when it comes to individuals as a person, your life, and then outside the physical practice, how does it, relate or translate into your life? There is no such things available, from what I know, anyway.
Exactly. What Ido's practice has, and that's very clear, is also a very strong community sense, where they like they have the movement culture and they gather and they always work in groups, which is very similar to parkour. But then all those philosophical traits or life traits that might or might not be acquired by people who practice, that I think is more to the side of parkour, because of all the thing of there you go, of being able to help if you can, or having the purpose of being able to help, or to protect your family, to protect yourself and all that stuff, which in that practice is not relevant, I think. So you were in Thailand, which was already a very nice paradise, and then
it's amazing.
You moved to the desert, man. You went to Dubai. What happened? What happened?
Well, I think it appears that I can't stay in the same place for too long. I think that's my problem. I go to places, I stay there for a while. I set a challenge, I set things up, and once I kind of reach the challenge, I get bored and I have to do something else. So that's what happened in London. Peak was an amazing adventure. It was really good, especially at the beginning. Then I kind of get I don't know. Once things get established, this is where I get bored. So I guess I moved to Asia, start fresh. No parkour over there. Zero understanding of what parkour is in Asia back then when I started, or very little. And I liked those aspects. So I went there, studying everything in Bangkok now. Julian, who took over the activity there, have a very decent community club. So it's nice to see. And then again in Thailand, I guess I reached that point where I was like, okay, it's done. I kind of see the limit of the potential in that place. So what happened is Ido, when he trained with me, he had one of his students, Johnny Clayton, who wanted to learn parkour. And Ido said, look, if you want to learn parkour, you should meet Stehpane in Bangkok, because he's the man you should learn parkour from. So Johnny came to Bangkok and he trained with me for a few days on a one-on-one basis. And then he told me, hey man, I live in Dubai, there's no such things over there. And you should really come and give it a try. I'm pretty sure parkour would be very much welcome in Dubai. And I know a friend there who was also working in a movement-based center, and maybe you should talk to him, and maybe there's room to, have some sort of parkour in the center. So it was good timing, because I kind of felt bored in Asia, from a work point of view. So I just decided to go to Dubai, give it a try. And then we've been lucky, Chris and I, to found the right people, right partners straight away, very early on. And then they supported us, and then they gave us a chance to open a company there. We open a warehouse actually next month, probably, once the construction are done.
Very good, very nice.
But again, I think there was no parkour community, in the sense of there were no classes, no parkour academy. And we started with one student about a year and a half ago. And now we have lots of students. We have 200 kids. We teach in schools as well. And it all started with us. So I guess I'm going to be there for a while, establish things, and then probably I will leave again.
Another place. Very good, man.
Hopefully going back to Thailand, but we never know, what life has for you. So we'll see.
All right. So that brings me to the point of asking you about your latest project, which is called Parkour Origins. That is aimed, obviously, to educate people. And I wanted to ask you, is there a big difference between what you learned and what you're teaching now? It's kind of the same question that I asked you, but now just referring to this project. Are you going through the same way, or is it another thing? To another audience, so to speak.
Yeah, other audience as well. But Parkour Origins for me it's kind of going back to the source. So I've been exposed to the source, then I did my own journey. And then on the way I refine and learn how to teach, and then you know, just refine my method and then what I like to do and to teach. And then today I'm to the point where I'm able to express myself fully on that program. You know, it's not a company program. It's not designed by many different people. It's just me. I wrote it down and I deliver it. So it's very personal and it's my self-expression. Now, regarding the content, it is basically what makes sense to me after 20 years of practice, coming back to what's essential to parkour. What I learned from the beginning, but I kind of now put it in a different way. I processed all that. So now it's easier for me to understand where are the values, where are the benefits, where are the essential, the foundation, and then put that into some sort of themes of work, and then deliver that through specific drills and as well as discussion. So it's basically a breakdown. It's a better understanding of the origin of parkour translated into a program. If that makes sense. I've been through, you know, a lot of teaching, a lot of different adventures, and then today I think I'm pretty clear, you know, on what makes sense. If you want to learn parkour, this is it, the 5 different elements I have in. It might evolve, but right now this is what I believe is a very strong foundation for parkour, and also most importantly is Parkour Origins aims clearly to make you understand that parkour is a good physical practice, but also a good practice for the mind. And we cover both aspects in Parkour Origins, not just the physical training, but also how you can translate into your everyday life. And that's very essential to me, because parkour without that aspect is just an aesthetic practice.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just a very limited physical performance-based practice, and then that's good, but that's not all of it. There's way more, and then that's what Parkour Origins aim to restore, is the mind and body connection, and what's the essence really.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, please remember to thumbs up. Also share it with as many people as possible so everybody knows what's going on, and of course subscribe to stay tuned for another episode of Word of Movement.